So, a certain rich man, that's all of us, brought forth plentifully the ground. Verse 17, and he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do, because I have no room where to bestow my fruits? That's in the King James. What that means is, this guy is saying, hey, my ground has produced well, and I don't have anywhere else to store all my stuff. Another problem in the Fox household, we have too much stuff. We know that. We're taking steps towards that to get rid of a lot of our stuff, which is kind of cool because Jesus talks about this. But this guy's saying, I have so much stuff that is produced from the ground that I don't know what to do with it. Now, bestow, I actually looked that word up. It's a Greek word. It's synago. To gather together, to collect, to assemble. Synago. Looks kind of like synagogue. I don't know if the roots go together or not. But the bottom line is he has no place to store or to assemble all the stuff he has. He is so rich. And it's such a problem. Notice he wants to store his stuff. He wants to gather his goodies. He wants to be like that cartoon. I might be dating myself. You guys would not understand this, I don't think you saw real cartoons. They ended when I was a teenager. But there used to be, I think, one of the Daffy Duck characters was a rich duck, and he would take baths. He'd be in the bathtub with gold coins, and like he would throw all these gold coins, right? It's just like, hey, I don't want gold coins, I'm so rich, I want to store all my stuff towards me. This guy continues, verse 18, and he said, this will I do. Okay, I have an idea. I will pull down my barns and build greater. So I'm going to pull down the barns that I have, the storage facilities I have for all my stuff, and I'll build bigger ones. I know a guy like this. I know a guy that had a little storage building to store some stuff in, and I'm not going to go into what his stuff was. And then he got more and more stuff, and so he actually built a bigger one. And then he got more and more stuff, and he had to build a second one like it, and the city is kind of on him for breaking zoning requirements out there because he's got large outbuildings. And I'll build greater, and there will I bestow, there will I store, assemble, gather all my fruits and my goods. My barns, my stuff, my goods. We all think this way sometimes, right? This is my stuff. I worked hard for it. I scrimped and saved for it. I think that way about my land in Arkansas. Kate and I gave up a lot of stuff that other people didn't have to give up so that we could buy our land in Arkansas. I talk about that sometimes with people doing preparations like food storage or whatever, and it's like, hey, we didn't take a vacation to Cozumel because we used the money to buy food storage or a water filter or whatever. It's mine and I deserve it and I own it and I slaved for it. Is it really? I remember when I first heard Oliver North say the phrase, and I've heard it a lot since then, but it made an impression on me. They're not my children. He was talking about his kids. He said, they're the children that God has put in my life and given me responsibility for. And I thought, wow. All this, all your stuff, everything you only own it by the grace of God. And you don't own it, He does. All right? And He has given it to you. He has seen fit to give it to you. If you think you worked hard and you saved your money to buy this thing, and now you're proud of it, like the guard guy we parked next to the other day, I won't go off on that tangent. It's not yours. It's because God has blessed you, and it's a mindset that we have to do, that we have to use. So they're not His goods, but that's how He thinks. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. I almost started crying when I read that, because I was thinking, from a survivalist preparedness standpoint, because I'm getting ready to quit my job in March, my very lucrative .gov job. And it's like, you know what? We've got enough food. We've got it going on. We've got enough self-sufficiency here. Mine, me. And I sound just like that guy. I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. You don't need to come down here. You're almost 50 years old. Build a new community in the wilderness. For what, dude? You got it all waiting up there in Leavenworth. That's what I was thinking. And this is what I'm reading. And so the Lord has my attention. You want to see where He really got my attention? Let's look at the next verse. But God said unto him, thou fool. Right? That's me. That's what I was thinking. That's you. When you're thinking this way, when you're thinking, I've got it going on, this is all my stuff, I worked hard for it, my husband worked hard for it, whatever. When you start thinking that way, when you start thinking about gathering your stuff instead of, well, we're going to get to what you should do with your stuff, with your blessings. But, thou fool. He continues, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? He calls the guy a fool. He's a fool for a couple reasons. One reason is because he thinks all the abundance that he has, all the stuff he got, all the land that produced all this fruit that he wants to put in a bigger barn, he thinks that's all because of himself, and he deserves it. You can just walk right past it. He thinks that, to rise to this pinnacle of success, and it's bigger for men than it is for women, at least in our culture. We're all concerned about providing for our family, as we should be. I just asked you the question, what does provide mean? But it's like, hey, well, they have this, well, we don't have this, well, I'm going to get that for my family. And he thinks that all that is because of himself and what he did. So that makes him foolish because he's not recognizing God. And then the other reason he's a fool is because he thinks he has all the time in the world now to sit back at ease and enjoy what he earned. You don't know how long you have. I've said before, for people, we used to have more people sitting out here, and I didn't really know everyone's salvation status. And quite frankly, I don't know everybody's salvation status here. That's between you and the Most High. But I used to say to people, if you don't have Jesus, it's not too late to say a little prayer right now. Because you could walk out that door, slip on the ice, and die. And it's too late. We don't know how long we have. We really don't. And so making these grandiose plans for the future and thinking that, I'm going to just sit back in a life of ease and enjoy all my stuff, it's foolish. He says, this night your soul will be required from me. He's going to die this night. Verse 21. And so is he that lays up, so is he a fool, that lays up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God. This is not an anti-rich sermon. Treasure's not the problem. It's not a problem to have treasure. It's not a problem to have stuff. The problem is, and is not rich towards God. You can have a lot of stuff as long as you're rich towards God. So what does rich towards God mean? That's kind of important. Well, you got to rely on God. You have to trust God. You have to depend on Him. And then, again, you have to give. Right? It has to be a mindset of not gathering in all my stuff. This is all mine. Right? I earned it. But it's like, hey, the Lord gave it to me, and I'm going to share the wealth. I'm going to give it back. And it's also a mindset of thanking Him. It is too easy for us to fall into the selfishness. I earned it. It's me. It's all mine. I'm the man. No, it's not. It's because the Lord chose to bless you with whatever it is you have. And then he said unto his disciples, so Yeshua was talking to everybody, now he's kind of focusing on the core. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body, what ye shall put on. Now, he knew that his disciples were fixing to go out. He knew that many of them, most of them, were going to be martyred and that they were going to have a hard time. He didn't say that when we are rich towards God that we are necessarily going to be blessed with physical wealth. All right? But that life's going to get harder. Sometimes the more we turn our life over to Him, the harder life gets. And he tells them, but don't worry about what you're going to eat, what about your body, or what you're going to put on. And here's the deal. You will remember that we were talking about greed, right? Be wary of covetousness. Don't covet. That's greed. And now he's talking about, hey, don't worry. Don't worry about what's going on. The two are related. Worry is worrying about not having enough. It's a fear that you're not going to have enough in the future, now, what's always in the future. You don't worry about the past. So you worry, hey, I'm not going to have enough. Greed is the feeling that I don't have enough and I want more. See, it both has to do with enough. It has to do with coveting in a way. If you're worrying about not having enough, then you're worrying that He is not going to provide. And life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment and clothing. Consider the ravens. Ravens are considered a bad animal. When we read about ravens in the Word, they're considered a bad animal. For they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouse nor barn. So he said, hey, consider these lesser creatures. They don't sow, they don't reap, they don't have any place to store up their stuff, and yet God feeds them. How much more are ye better than the fowls? He already told us about sparrows, now he's telling us about ravens, which are like gross little creatures. You know, Jehovah Jireh, Yahweh, Yireh. I mean, my Hebrew is lacking. Brother Cole will tell me later. God provides. Don't worry. He's going to take care of us. He's going to take care of you as a person. And which of you, with taking thought, can add to his stature 1 cubit, 18 inches, about this far, whatever? How much can you make yourself taller by worrying about it? You can't. The reason it says cubit and not inches is, you could all think I want to be taller, and you could stand straighter, and you could probably get like 1 inch to 1.5 inches on your stature. But really, can you make yourself 18 inches taller? No, you can't. All right? So, he goes on. If you then be not able to do that thing which is least, why take ye thought for the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not, and yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Look how beautiful the lilies are. They don't do anything, and yet they are. If then God so clothe the grass, which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you? Here it comes again, it's like an elbow. O ye of little faith. Don't worry about what you're going to wear. Don't worry about what you're going to eat. Don't worry about your stuff. God is going to take care of you. And seek not ye, remember ye is y'all, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye doubtful of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knows that ye have need of these things. Everybody in the world, this whole thing about community too is about getting away from the world a little bit. All right? Getting away from worldly influences. Not totally, but getting away from the negativeness of it. Hey, the whole world worries about riches. The whole world worries about being provided for. He's got us. He's got you if you just trust Him and depend on Him. He knows what you need. He knows you need to eat. He knows you need to get out of the rain. He knows we needed heat today, and He gave it to us. Praise Him. Don't worry about it. But rather, right, so instead of worrying, but rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. What is this? This is priorities. Where's your priorities? Are you worried about your stuff? Or are you worried about being right with God? Remember when He said, don't fear the people who can kill the body, but instead fear Him, fear the Lord? That's what we're supposed to have as our priority. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. To me, that's almost like children, in almost a negative sense, little flock. It's like, children, come on, really? You guys are worried about this? Don't worry about this. Your Father's going to take care of you. Sell that you have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags So, take your stuff that you're all worried about and get rid of it. Sell it, give alms to the poor, to the widows, take care of people who have need. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, bags that don't get old. A treasure in the heavens that fails not, where no thief approaches, neither moth corrupts. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Instead of worrying about stuff, instead of worrying about what you're going to have tomorrow, trust in Him. Focus on Him, and He will bless you. And this is not prosperity ministry, but He will bless you. Those are the important things in life, not our stuff, not worrying about where we're going to store it. Hey, these verses spoke to me. I hope they spoke to you too. Let's pray.